Steve Basic Architect. So I'm up here, Grand Manan Island, with a good friend, Aaron Jones, Big Dog Construction, and you can see there, that is the Atlantic Ocean. So I am out here, and I figured I'm going to run around and do my videos where I have little vignettes of different aspects of the project. There's a lot of things going on here, so stay tuned. We'll do a whole series of details here, and let's get after it. So here's a detail, and we talked about it in some other videos. You can go check them out. But basically, the Stego vapor retarder, vapor barrier on top, it's on top of 2 inches of XPS insulation, and then there's 2 inches there. So it's R10 per sheet. So 10 and another 10 is 20. Got the Stego in between. That's all sitting on a stone leveling bed there, and you can see how that steps up. So we're now walking on our 20, and then we have our first layer of Advantech here. Now that's floating. It's not nailed. It's not mechanically fastened. It's basically just tapped in. The tongue and grooves are engaged, and it's floating. And then on top of that, notice there is another layer of Advantech X Factor. That one is perpendicular to this orientation, which is in this direction. That's in that direction. And notice that the joint there is staggered with the joint on top. And then that is fastened to the lower layer with 1¼ inch screws. So basically what you're creating is this 1.5 inches of floating Advantech raft that sits on top of this rigid insulation, that's on top of the Stego, on top of insulation, on top of a stone bed. So it's an 1.5 inches of wooden basement deck, fully continuous insulation. You know, if I pan in there, notice there is no breaks except for where this bearing wall is, but full continuous R20. And this is just an 1.5 inches floating raft. All right, air barrier continuity. You can see there's the Sega My Vest. So Aaron runs it in between his top plate, and then we'll connect it to the My Rex like we saw in the other detail. And you can see it running there. So it goes out and connects to the Zip R9 system, which is our primary air barrier on the outside. So that's how we bring that air barrier to the inside, underside of those roof trusses. Salamander Windows. Let's take a look at this. So we talked about the handle, but let's open that up. You can see there's one piece of weather stripping there, some Sagania hardware, which if you're not familiar with, Sagania hardware is one of the top hardwares in Europe. And then of course we have another piece right here. So we have dual weather stripping. And then this all goes down. There's a weep hole there and a weep hole over there, but also notice the engagement on the hardware all around on this window. So it's yeah, quite a bit. So that's how you get that really good air seal when you close that up. So great engineering, Salamander Windows. All right, 2x6, 24-inch on-center framing with a zip system R sheathing. And in this case here, I believe this is, I know it's R9. I was just looking for a place where it actually says that. But yeah, insulating sheathing. And because we're by the ocean, notice all of the edges there. They've installed it horizontally. So here you can see that all of the joints are fully blocked and nailed off. So insulating sheathing, continuous insulation on the outside, zip system. Let's talk a little bit about foundation waterproofing. So this is the Delta MS mat here, and you can see it is a very simple dimple mat. I'm just walking down the hill here and peel that back for you so you can see there. So it has a path of mitigation for water to fall. It protects the waterproofing membrane that's underneath that from all of these rocks. And then of course it has what we would call a T-bar or termination bar across the top there, and that is just to keep stuff from falling down inside there. If we go up here, you can see they haven't installed this last section of T-bar, but you have the ability to get stuff to go down in there, and then that starts clogging up your mitigation path, and it doesn't make sense to get a path of mitigation in there and then clog it. So Delta MS mat, basement waterproofing or foundation waterproofing. So in this one, we'll just do a whole compilation and we'll just call it framing spacing. So notice here, they laid out the wall so that it falls perfectly in line and aligns with all of the roof trusses. But over here, they were initially told the roof truss or floor trusses above were going to be 16 inches on center. So where the loft starts, they progressed down through there with 16 inches on center. But when the trusses got delivered, they got delivered with a different spec that was 19.2. So here we have 24, 16, and 19.2 all in that one intersection. So framing spacing. Well, there you have it, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Aaron is just doing a fantastic job out here. He's a good friend. We share a lot of information, so there's certainly opportunities to learn from each other when you do these walks around. So very grateful to Aaron having us out here. If you're not following him on Instagram, certainly jump on it, Big Dog Construction. He also has a YouTube channel, although I think we need to pump him up on using that a little bit more, because he's a wealth of knowledge and he's somebody we should all be listening to and aspiring to. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that. You know it. Steve Basic Architect. Until next time, long live our buildings.